Hi, this is Paul Green, and welcome to episode 5 of Martial Logic. This one entitled The Societal Change Delusion. I got to tell you, I walked the floors for a little bit, before I sat down to do this one. To me, it was really, really disturbing. Um, and, for a while, I just had a loss for words. This wasn't one of the original subjects that we were going to tackle in these videos, which is basically just kind of giving a synopsis or whatever of the different commentaries that'll be in the book. Of course, in the book they'll be all cleaned up and and a lot better, and I'll fix some of the mistakes I'm probably making in these videos. But For me, it all started when I was on Facebook. One day, and I was looking at some threads, and one of them really caught my eye. It was Mark McYoung had posted one, and it just it was just really disturbing to me. Unfortunately, I'm going to butcher this poor woman's name, but it was a writer for Slate.com and Dear Prudence, a lady by the name of like I said, I know I'm going to get her name wrong, but Emily Yofa, and like I said, it's probably not how you pronounce that, but it's the best I can do right now. But she wrote an article on women that go to like these campus parties and stuff, and binge drink, and get kind of to the point where they're incapacitated, and end up getting sexually assaulted by predators that look for that kind of thing. And she was just basically saying in the article, hey, you know what, it's not a good idea to do that because it makes you a target, and which is good common sense to me. But I mean, she got blasted, by some of these groups and everything. And what I had gathered from reading this is basically there's a real militant extremist contingent that's worked itself into the feminist movement. That's basically um, preaching something that's actually helping rapists be more successful. When they're raping women, what they're basically doing is saying that any self-defense, instructor, or someone who's trying to teach women things that would lower the risk factors of being raped or sexually assaulted are victim blamers. And this is ridiculous to me. It's just ridiculous. It uses a very flawed logic, and it's just thinking about it. I'm floored by it. It just blows my mind. Um, and it's kind of hard for me to think of the right words for it, which is why it took so long to do this. It was just like, what the hell? Are you serious? Um, what it is obvious. Obviously, what's being done here, as I've looked into it, which I used to teach women's self-defense courses years ago, quite a bit. I haven't done it recently because I've been working so much on our law enforcement programs that I just haven't had time to do it. But It's not a subject that's foreign to me. But it's easily recognizable as what's known as a slippery slope logic. What slippery slope logic? An example of it would be, you take group one. Let's say group one agrees with group two on something. Okay, group two agrees with group three on something. Okay, then what by slippery slope logic would dictate that group one and three always agree, which is not true. Um, how they're applying it to this is saying that because we're trying to say that there are things that women can do to lower the risk factors of getting raped, then if they do get raped, then we're saying that it's their fault, um, which is crap. It's just no. um, if a crime is committed, it's the criminal's fault. Period. And it just you know, rape isn't committed by, because a woman is naked. Rape is committed because there's a presence of a rapist. Period. If it goes back into how crimes are committed. They have to have a means, an opportunity, and an intent to do so. If there's no intent to rape, then a rape can't happen because they don't want to do it. You take any one of those three things away, any kind of violence can't happen. If they don't have the means to do it, if they don't have the opportunity to do it, if they don't have the intent, or if they don't have the intent, they can't do it. So rape happens because a rapist is present. But there are things that can entice them and draw unwanted attention to yourself. That can get you singled out in a way that you don't want to be singled out in. The thing that what was disturbing to me, and I'll get back to that in just a second because I have a really good example of it. For my own personal life. But some of the comments in the comment section to this woman's article, and even a retort, talked about it her saying that infringes upon their ideals. One of them even quoted something. I'm not saying it right, but it was something to the tune of. When a woman has to restrain or modify her pleasure-seeking behaviors, it's always a step backward. That defies common sense. It really does, because the whole thing about becoming an adult is you learn to restrain that. What if your pleasure-seeking behavior was snorting a whole bunch of coke? Or you think that's going to be okay? No, it's not okay. You think murdering somebody is your pleasure-seeking behavior, then you'll know that it's not okay. We have to restrain ourselves every day. I work with a lot of different, people and do a lot of different things on any given day. Do you know how many times a day? Ask yourself this: when you go to work, how many times a day does something happen and you just want to straight up slap the shit out of somebody? I would say it's probably once or twice. I know I do. But you have to restrain and modify your behavior. It's part of being an adult to understand that you just can't just do whatever the hell that you want. There's rules and there's structures that we have to live by. So that's way off base. And then there was another one that said something similar, but talking about that infringes upon their ideals of freedom and things of that nature. Okay, let me explain something right off the bat. There's no such thing as freedom. Freedom does not exist. The reason that I say freedom, now you can be freer than some other people, but freedom doesn't exist. Freedom doesn't exist because there's nothing in your life that's free. You pay something for it, whether it be money or whether it be an emotional payment or something. You're paying for it. You didn't get nothing for free. You don't get food for free. You have to go out and work and do what somebody else tells you. So you can get money to get that because you're not free. You have lights in your house because you have to pay somebody for them because it's not free, because you're not free. The only place in the world that you're free is in your own head. And that's about it. I can, close my eyes and in my dreams I can do things I can never do in real life because I'm not free, and neither are you. Freedom is an ideal, and the problem with idealism is that it's not realism. It's an ideal. It's something that you aspire to, but you're not free. So to say that it infringes upon your ideals of freedom, no, that's just not valid at all. But like I said, it's really, really, really disturbing to me. One of the examples that I talked about, that I was going to get to, the first time that I went to New Orleans, I've never been there, and I always dreamed about going to New Orleans, and I took the Amtrak. with my work that I do with training police. I teach in Texas a lot, and I like to take the Amtrak from Birmingham to Houston. The first time I did it, I specifically done that so I could spend the night in New Orleans because it was on my bucket list. I just always wanted to go, and I'd gotten a Hotel Lafayette by Lafayette Square on St. Charles, and it was supposed to be fairly close to the Amtrak. That's what they said. When they booked it. Well, I'm riding down there and everything, and I'm one of these people's. I was guilty. When I was younger, well, I'll go anywhere I want. And ain't nobody gonna tell me where I can go and where I can't go, and da da da, and all that kind of stuff. And they kept telling me, it's like, well, where you staying? And I'm like, well, I'm staying on St. Charles. They said it was in walking distances, and they're like, well, have you ever been in New Orleans before? And I'm like, no, it's my first time, and I've always wanted to go. And they were like, well, you probably need to take a cab. And I'm like, why? I ain't afraid of nothing. I'm a big guy. No, really, you need to take a cab. You don't need to be walking anywhere at night in New Orleans if you don't know where you're going, especially, dragging, a bag and a laptop case and, and all those types of things. And I could have swore as we were pulling into Union Station there in New Orleans that I heard a bullet hit the side of the car. It may have been a rock or it may have just been something fly up, but it made me think, even the Amtrak employees that were riding on the train that lived in New Orleans are like, hey, you probably just need to take a cab this time, when you catch the train, tomorrow morning, you can walk to it then, and see some things. But really, you need to, you need to just take that cab. And so I finally listened, and I took the cab. But let's say that I didn't take the cab. Let's say that I did walk, and and it was several blocks. It was walkable. I did walk it the next morning when it was daylight out. This was in pitch. There was something on that lens. Dark, but and I'm sitting here, schlepping it, up the road, the St. Charles and everything, with this big suitcase, on wheels, and this real expensive laptop, strapped around here and everything. If I got robbed, or what if I got stabbed for that stuff? It's not my fault. Maybe, I don't carry cash generally when I travel. What if the ATM at the train station was broke? And I couldn't find a cab that took a credit card. It was hell that night. A lot of the cabs, at that point didn't take them. It took me a while to find one, a guy that invested in one himself, to give me a ride there. I would say it probably took 30 minutes to at least find a cab that took a credit card. And in successive trips, since I've been there, they all pretty much take them now. I don't know, what was up then, but, the time they didn't take them. But if I'd been, robbed there, it wouldn't have been my fault. It'd been the person that robbed me's fault. They're the ones that committed the crime. It's not my fault I got robbed. But at the same time, me, dragging that suitcase up the road there, and having an expensive laptop, saying, man, that guy's got some stuff there, I could sell that at a pawn shop, or maybe I want a laptop or something like that, it could have drawn attention to me that I didn't want, and entice somebody to, try to take the stuff that I had. I could have been shot, I could have been killed, or not. But it definitely wouldn't have been my fault. Just like if a girl's raped, there are things that you can do to minimize those threats. After this episode, the next episode, we're actually going to talk about awareness and avoidance and things that you can do that. But that's a big enough subject. It could be, its whole episode. Hell, it could be a whole book in and of itself. It's a very wide subject. So that'll get its own episode. But it's still, it's not their fault they're raped. But at the same time, groups like this, it just, like I said, it defies logic. To say that, that we shouldn't be teaching awareness and avoidance to help these women lower their risk factors, saying you shouldn't do that. The only thing you should push for It's societal change, and that's why we call this thing the societal change delusion, because society's not going to change. You look at the incarceration rate. There's more crime now than it ever was, or certain types. And if society changes, it's going to take a long time. And what are these women that are being sexually assaulted and raped? What are they going to do now? And what are they going to do now? Um, you know, Good logic you can take for one thing and apply to similar things, and it'll still make sense. Um, but and the logic is that we shouldn't be teaching awareness and avoidance. We should all be pushing for societal change. In other words, you should just be telling rapists not to rape. That's what you should be doing. You know, we shouldn't be telling women these things that that could save their life or stop them from being raped. Um, okay, well, let's apply that to other things. Um, got people that own convenience stores. They shouldn't lock them at night. Hell no. I mean, just because they don't want to get robbed, to hell with that. We should just tell robbers not to go robbing people. That should work, right? No, no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. When we were, when I was looking at things like pepper spray and stuff along, those lines, I was reading some of the comments on Amazon.com for a particular brand. And there was a woman that was telling a story about, she was walking down the sidewalk real late at night, and some guy come up to her and was going to try to rob her, and she pulled out that pepper spray. And he saw it and he ran like hell. Well, he probably wouldn't have ran if she just pulled out her ideals. You know, um, if she said, "Hey," instead of pulling out that pepper spray, if she said, "Hey, you're not supposed to rob people," is this guy going to look at it and go, "Oh, really? Oh shit," "Damn, I'm glad you told me. I was about to rob you." It goes on. That's not how that works. It's really, really flawed logic. When you look at it and you shine a light on it, um, it doesn't hold water. It doesn't make a lick of sense. It just doesn't. And that's why it's bad. It's not protecting anybody. It gets into the whole thing of, once again, people that want to say this kind of stuff. A lot of people don't want truth. They just want validation to just do whatever the crap they wanted to do in the first place. And it's women are getting raped. Women are getting sexually assaulted, and they need information now. They need information now that's going to stop them from getting raped. And it's wrong to keep that from them. And we're not blaming anyone. I mean, to call us victim blamers, for trying to help, women when you're doing absolutely nothing. Um, a value that's going to help them. I mean, seriously. Once again, if society is going to change, it's going to take a long time. And there's women that need help, and they need information now. They need it right now. They don't need it 20 years down the road. And if society is going to change, it's not going to do it in my lifetime. Um, right now, I'm going to take a break because of a lot of these videos and stuff. People kind of feel like they're getting a little bit too long, and there's something that I want to do, that's a little bit special. Um, for this, I recorded something ahead of time that I want to add in the video, so we're going to break this up into two different ones. So I will see you here real soon.